Hey, how's it going? I hope you're doing good. And today I wanted to run through 6 of my favorite piano plugins in no particular order because they're all used for very different things depending on the song that I'm writing. So to run through these today, I wanted to use a song of mine. It's a song called Ever After. It was on my EP After, came out last January, and it actually found its way onto one of Spotify's top ambient playlists, which is Ambiente or Ambient, I don't know if there's a way to pronounce it, and also ended up in their Best of Ambiente 2022 playlist as well, which you can actually see on Spotify. And don't worry, this is not just me trying to boast about my achievements, this is just where I wanted to use an actual song of mine that has actually seen moderate success as an independent release and use the exact MIDI from that song to showcase how different some of these pianos sound and what you might use them for. And as a fun little thing, see if you can guess which piano I used on the record. I will tell you at the end of the video. If you know the song, then yeah, you'll know it straight away, I'm sure. The song will also be linked in the description if you do want to go and listen to it and add it to your playlist, because that's massively appreciated, obviously. So yeah, let's jump into Studio One and I will run you through these 6 pianos and what they sound like. Okay, so here we are in Studio One with all the 6 different pianos that we're going to be looking at loaded in, and they're all running the exact same MIDI, which is the MIDI from my song Ever After. It was recorded at 62 BPM. It looks like it was recorded with a metronome. There's no quantization, it looks like, at all going on here, so this is exactly as it was played in. And we're going to look at a couple of sections of it so you can hear a more kind of like sparse section with these chords in the intro, and then this kind of middle bridge section where it gets a little bit more kind of busy in terms of the notes that are playing. So the first piano that we're going to look at is the Spitfire Audio Original Cinematic Soft Piano, which is probably the piano I've used the most across the Project Air discography. You can definitely hear it on my albums Growth Patterns and Journals. So really from like anything like late 2020 onwards, up until recently, this has been the piano I've used the most. I think it's a great piano for this sort of genre. It's something that most of the time doesn't need much tweaking in the mix, and that's really something I look for from instruments, in that they don't, if they're going to be fit into a mix, no matter how busy it is, that they don't need tons of EQing to get them kind of to sit exactly how you want. They might just need darkening up or brightening up, that sort of thing, or just losing some low end or something. So let's have a listen to it. And the middle section here. And that's pretty much it. It's really, really nice sounding. It's perfect for this genre. It's kind of an evolution of the free Labs soft piano that they did, which is a great piano in its own right. And I had used that quite a bit. And then the moment this came out, it's £29. I was just like, I'm going to get it and use it. It paid for itself. Let's put it that way. It's a really great versatile piano in that it can actually do quite a bit more than you think. It's great for that ambient sort of sound, but some of the other ones that we are going to be looking at are maybe a little bit better for that. Something I love about this piano though is this pad mode that it has, where you can actually just turn it into a pad, and it is something I've actually used with other pianos to create like a sort of drone of what they're playing underneath, and it sounds great mixed in with them. Just a really lovely sound. And when you compare that with, if we layer that with another piano, so if we turn on, even just let's turn on the piano itself again, so let's put it back to how it was. So you just get those really, really nice tails on it. I usually like to put the pad on its own and then run it through like some different reverbs or something to create a really ethereal sort of pad, but you can obviously just use it as is in the box, and it's just great for that. So next up is another Spitfire Audio Originals. It's the felt piano, which is something I only started using recently. I've had it for a while, but it wasn't until I found out that it was used all over the soundtrack for the video game Celeste, the soundtrack by Lena Raine, which is a fantastic soundtrack. If you know, you know. The game is just a beautiful piece of art, and it's a really fun game as well. And it's a lovely sounding piano that I don't think I've fully explored all the different things that it's capable of doing in terms of how it can fit into different sounds. But I'm really loving this preset from it at the moment, which is the Ribbon Reverb Extended Dynamics. Again, you have all this kind of control similar to what you had with the soft piano bit. It's just tweaked a little bit as well. So let's listen to how that sounds. I love that reverb, man. I love it. And then the middle section here, oops. So another beautiful sounding piano that I just love using and I need to start using more. I'm actually finding that this is a great sort of piano to go alongside the soft piano, where if the soft piano is maybe a bit too dark or just doesn't sound quite right for what I'm working on, that the felt piano is a really good sort of companion piece to have with it. And I love Spitfire audio stuff just because it doesn't, like I said before, it doesn't take much kind of tweaking to get it to fit. When it's the right piano for the song, it's the right piano for the song. The next piano that we're going to have a look at is Native Instruments Noire Pure. There is also a Noire felt that comes with it. It's not a separate thing, so it does have a felt mode. So if you do want it to sound a bit more like the Spitfire one, you can do that as well. And what I love about this piano, I should say how much I've used this, by the way. It is all over. It is literally the backbone of my album Lullabies for Insomniacs, which I released with Dreamhop Music in 2020. It's just like a sleepy piano-centric album where all of the different parts and drones and pads all came out of Noire, whether it was just running it into different reverbs and things like that, or using some of the features inside of it, which we'll get to. First, let's take a listen to it. This is the exact preset from that album as well, that I made. And then the middle section here. So this piano, what I love about it is just how much stuff you can tweak with it. It's very similar to Native Instruments' Una Corda, but I find it just so much more usable, so much more versatile, even though a lot of the feature sets are quite similar. So the first thing you'll kind of find is that you can tweak the tone of the piano and just how it sounds and all the different effects and stuff that come with it really, really quickly and really easily. Like these sort of ambiences and noises that you can add to create like pianist sounds of like the creaking of someone sitting in a stool, or like different like noises, whether it be tape noise and just hiss and room noise, to create a really natural sort of almost home recorded sort of feel, as well as tweaking like the stereo image and stuff like that as well. But what I think what makes Noire really, really unique compared to any other piano is really the things like the particle engine and the effects that it has built into it, like the reverb and the replica delay, which is a great delay from Native Instruments as well. So the first up is the particles engine, which if you've watched my ambient pianos in Serum video, you'll notice this sort of sound straight away, and it's a sound I really love. It's another way of achieving that sort of effect. But what I really like about it is that it has a lot of different algorithms that you can feed it to get a lot of like randomness. And I think something I really love in music, and some of these kind of pianos do touch on this, is randomness. It's not just making something feel like it's arpeggiated on eighths or sixteenths or things like that. It's making something that feels random and almost generative, without it kind of losing that sort of human touch. So what we'll find is that the particles engine, if we turn this on and change the mix all the way over to particles, this is what it sounds like. And we can feed it different algorithms. I really like the high and dark, which I think it is already set to. But you have like just dark. You can hear it changes the octave where it's playing and just how it's played, which I love. And it sounds great just mixed in as well. And you can change the tone of that and everything. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous piano, and something you can do so much with, and for ambient music especially, and just lo-fi and textural stuff, which is something I'm really, really big on. This piano is amazing for that. The next piano that we're going to look at is a piano that I kept seeing advertised, and the adverts worked on me, and I went and checked it out and fell in love with it. This is Lekko from Felt Instruments. It is a real, I mean, the interface is gorgeous straight up. But what I really love about this piano is how many different things that it has inside of it. So obviously it has the piano, which we'll have a listen to now. I love all the noise. You can even turn up tape noise in it. I get so carried away with this piano. It is gorgeous. And then this is the middle section. So, where to start with this piano? I will say straight away that it is a harder piano to mix, I think, in most cases. I've found that this piano is way harder for me to mix into a busier arrangement, whereas something like this, where it's more kind of it's more the focal point of the mix, it stands out beautifully and it just has so much character to it. It's just gorgeous. What I really love about Lekko is that it has these 9 different patches, which are all so different to one another and so usable in their own sort of weird and creative ways. So first up, we have this tremolo patch, which is kind of similar in effect to Particles, in that it gets this sort of randomized feeling piano notes, where if we play just some chord stuff here, I love how that feels. I love how imperfect everything feels in Lekko. We also have these muted shorts, which are like these plucky staccato notes, which I think have so much use, and I haven't even begun to explore where to use these. Like, you can already hear the use of something like that in like a pop song or like a soundtrack or something. Then we also have, and these are perhaps the 2 most interesting yet most specific sounds in here, which is these half speed and quarter speed sustains, which I believe is the samples of the piano fed back into tape and ran at half speed and quarter speed, which gets these like weird, almost creepy sort of warbly effects to it that I think would be right at home on like a soundtrack. And the half speed is still quite playable. It's the quarter speed that, wait and see, it's... I love all the noises. You can change all the kind of key noise and stuff like that, which I love. And these are the quarter speeds. Straight away starts to sound really creepy and weird and like inhuman, which I really love. Then there's these 4 ambient patches, which are kind of like pads that you can mix in with synths and stuff like that. So if we take the sunrise one here and just, even if I just play something, you can mix in like sine waves, we can turn down the reverb, we could even lessen the attack even more, give it more release, more echo. It gets quite resonant, but what I love about all these, and we're not going to go through all the ambient patches, but what I love about Lekko is just how versatile it feels, even though it's quite specific to that sort of like ambient neoclassical sort of sound that you might hear on like a sort of Oliver Arnold's, like John Hopkins type of release. It's such a beautifully imperfect sounding piano, and I love it. I think it's amazing. The next 2 pianos that we're going to look at are completely free. I will link to them in the description. I'll link to all the plugins in the description. But these next two are free, and they're both fantastic. So the first piano of these 2 free ones is AudioOllie's Memoir Piano Prologue. I don't know if there's a full paid version out at this point in time, but this version is free. You can run it in Kontakt. I don't know if you can run it in other samplers. Definitely check at the link. This has a few different patches as well. It does have some ambient patches. It has a kind of standard concert grand patch, but it also has these like soft and dark patches, so it has these kind of different ways that you can use it. This is the one I've used the most, which is the dark soft patch, and this is what it sounds like. And then the middle section here. So this piano doesn't have a lot that you can tweak with it, but it's just all these different patches give you a few options of things to choose from, and it's free. What can you, like, there's nothing to complain about. It's a really usable piano. I've used it on tracks, don't know which ones off the top of my head, because I have been experimenting with pianos a lot more recently, hence this video. But yeah, free, check it out. Definitely go and download it, especially if you have Contact, because it's great. And finally, the last piano that we're going to look at is a Woodland Piano from someone called okpii, I think it is, on Piano Book, which is a community website of all these different instruments and patches and things like that that people have made that can be played in Contact, decent sampler, EXS24, depends on the instrument. But I'm using Contact, so that's what we're going to use here. This is an upright piano, which is just gorgeous. I've been using it a lot more recently on projects that I'm working on right now, and even using it on like jazz style projects. It's a really, really lovely sounding piano. So let's give it a listen. And you can mix in what I believe are different mics here as well, so we can adjust these. And the middle section. So we can mix in and out felt samples as well. So that's Woodland Piano. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it because I've only really recently started using it, and I'm not too confident in describing each of the sounds, but definitely give it a download. It's free, can't really go wrong, especially if you have Contact. But yeah, this is that's some pianos. So that's that. There's 6 of my favorite pianos in no particular order. I am finding that now that I've gotten really confident with one piano, which was the cinematic soft piano that we looked at the start, that's when I've started to kind of learn what I actually want from pianos, because for a long time I think I found myself kind of collecting piano samples or collecting piano libraries and just trying different ones but not really kind of knowing what I was looking for. And actually after coming to grips with 1 or 2 pianos really, really well, that's when I've started to learn, you know, I want something that sounds more like this, or I want this, you know, those sorts of things. So yeah, that's it. If you guessed that the correct piano that I used on the actual song was Lekko, then well done. If this video gets, I don't know, a lot of likes or something, I might drop the MIDI for the song if anyone's interested in the MIDI. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope this was interesting. Any other tutorials, any other guides, any other plugin things, let me know, and I might see about making them. Track breakdowns are going to be coming back as well. I'm not going to do every single song because we'd be here a really long time, and I don't think that it would continue to be that interesting, but I am thinking of doing a few from Stories from the Sea, or any others really. If there is a specific track that you'd like broken down to see the project of, let me know in the comments and I will see about making the video in the coming weeks. So yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!